This is obviously totally not a Bugatti. Hey everyone, today I continue my exploration of products other than the ones I usually cover on this channel. This is a car that I bought off Amazon for $25 shipped US. And when I purchased it, I wasn't aware of what brand it was supposed to be because it just came up as some random store brand name. It wasn't until I received the thing that I found out. It's from these guys. All right, so let's check out what these guys can do at this price point. First of all, the parts here are, as far as I can tell, as far as I've been able to test, 100% compatible with Lego Technic in terms of the sizes of holes and axles and pins and such. Works out very well, switching back and forth between the two. Many of the pieces here are the same types of pieces that you will find from the leading brand, but some of them are noticeably different, including some that could have been direct copies, but aren't because, I don't know, the company just decided to do things their own way just a little bit. The building process for this was not really a problem at all. The instructions are just fine for it. The pieces went together pretty well for the most part. I did have some issues with one particular design of part, and that's the blue axle pin piece, and I'll show you those up close just a little bit. One of them broke on me just slightly. It was still usable afterwards. Some others don't have the correct friction that they're supposed to have. But again, that was one single part design. Within this, it could have been just a bad batch as far as I'm concerned. Everything else felt pretty good. It feels like the parts quality from this company in general tends to be towards the better range of the non-leading brand stuff. This is obviously totally not a Bugatti. Not at all. It's 100% original design. I will leave that debate up to Volkswagen's lawyers and all. I personally don't care that much, but I mean, you can clearly see what they were going for. It's interesting that design-wise, many of the important lines here are formed with just the flexible, what do you call that? It's not really a tube, just flexible pipe pieces, flexible. Again, not hoses. What do you call that? The flexible pieces. Yeah, a lot of the key shaping for, basically giving the lines of the car, the main important ones that give it its character. I really don't like what happened with the rear fenders there, but the rest of it is pretty decent. And this is a pullback car, so there's a pullback motor that's built into the center of it. You actually start to integrate that in very, very early on. Looking at this from the underside, you can see it right there, along with a major doggy hair. Get that out of the way. And one more doggy hair. Sorry about that. But the build process was different. It's definitely not something that I expected, the way that you put it together. There's a lot of flat stuff, as you can see here. You kind of build along that flat plane for the underside of the chassis, and you go from side to side. And yeah, it felt unique. It felt like this was a unique design. Definitely not a direct ripoff of anything that I have come across, not only in terms of its precise design, but also the design strategies for how it gets assembled together. The pullback motor that's in there works pretty well. It can be wound up quite a bit, and it gets pretty decent force, pretty decent speed out of it as well. The tires are nice and soft. They give you good traction. This thing doesn't have any working suspension or anything, but that makes it a little bit bumpy, but it does run just fine. You don't have the ability to move things, open things. Nothing can be changed with this, so what you see is what you get. Here's a little example of one of those pieces that is just not quite right. I had several of them that didn't have the friction ridges on them, or that had reduced friction ridges, so this just kind of falls about, as opposed to this one over on this side that can be set exactly where I want it. That's the way that it should be. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, this has some brick-based sort of stuff, but it's mostly done with Technic pieces, and if you look closely, you can see differences in designs from, again, the leading brand. Some things are very similar, but some things are noticeably different. Gaps, between pieces, fit and finish and everything, I feel is very acceptable, especially for something that's, at a clearly directed towards a budget range. It's not trying to be the most premium stuff, this right here. But inside we got a couple of seats, The steering wheel doesn't do anything. You know, it's not connected to anything, but that's pretty much that. What I like about this least design-wise is just this row back here that represents the rear lights, because this flexible piece really has to be bent at the ends. It has to be bent quite a lot. It's very, very stressed there, but it looks cool. Now here's where things get interesting. They say 6 models on the box over here, and you see a couple of alternates turning this around. You see some of the official models that can be created from the parts included in the set, and this is one of them here. They have instructions in the box, in the main instruction manual for that, for this, and then for this one over here. And interestingly, these have different parts used in them than are used in this. So for instance, there's a shock piece that gets used as a wheelie bar for this version right here, and that's not even included in this. We'll check this out. None of these pieces are used in the build of the not Bugatti over here. Not Gotti, Bunatti. There we go, Bunatti. That doesn't sound right either. Yeah. All these pieces are included in the set for you to make alternate builds or to do whatever the heck you want with them. That is super cool because it puts the focus on building, including doing custom stuff. It encourages you to do your own stuff. They even have this extra set of tires, another extra set of tires, wheels to go with them. Got some smaller tires as well. Here's that shock or spring set. It's not really a shock absorber. Gears, some extra gears in there. Bunch of extra pieces. Some of this stuff is pretty substantive, you know? And some of their different, interesting pieces that are not direct copies of things that I personally have seen before, like this. That's a very useful piece. We've got those in different sizes as well. This is great. This takes things to a whole other level and really elevates this model and its abilities and what you can do with it. Also, I gotta say, their separator tool here, their working tool, is pretty dang cool. I especially love the fact that it has, at the end of it, a pin puller. So you actually can grab the ends of pins, and instead of doing damage to your fingertips, just let this do the work for you. It even has a little bit of jimping along the sides to make it easy to grasp. This is pretty cool all by itself. So at the end of the day, when you look at this for $25 US, or as of the time of the recording of this video, I'm now seeing it on Amazon with free Prime shipping for $22. I'm sure that if you find it on AliExpress, you can get it for even less than that. I'm not brave enough to go into the world of AliExpress and so on just yet, but I mean, the value here is very good. I like this more than I like this. Just conceptually, the idea of offering up a bunch of extra pieces and encouraging kids to do more, to try more different things. That's just fantastic. They can follow the instructions. They can get to the point of having a completed model that they can then play with. But then all this stuff just asks you to do more. And that's a lot of pieces. It's over 500 pieces for that kind of price. Price to part ratio is very nice. I like some of the designs of these pieces. The color consistency is definitely good from what I saw between these. There's occasional little bits of difference, but nothing that really stood out to me. The axle pins, though, could be a problem. I don't know if that's a systemic issue again, or if it was just a batch of them that was, particularly malformed that I got unlucky with. But I will look at more products from this company in the future, and see more how they do things in general. It looks like they have a pretty good value proposition here. This as a model is okay. It's not up to the standards that I'm personally used to in terms of design, but it definitely works. It does its job as a built-up toy. All this is great. So there you go. I will keep at it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you again soon.